What's up, everyone? Welcome to another Tuesday live stream here. We're talking about an overdrive today. I think one of the best overdrives of all time, and that is the Tim and the Timmy and the Timmy V3, all from Paul Cochran. All fantastic overdrives. We're gonna talk about them, get in depth with them, listen to them, talk about the differences, answer some questions, all that fun stuff. We do have a holiday sale going on. Let me plug that real quick before we get started. First of all, we have 10 coupon codes for 50% off of anything in my store, any of the video courses. That is Holiday 50. We only have 10 of those, so once the first 10 of those are claimed, they're gone. And then after that, we're doing 35% off of everything in my store. That's the video courses and all of my Helix presets, Kemper Profiles, all that is 35% off through the end of the week, through Christmas. And that is Holiday 35, I think, is the code. So check the chat, check the link in the description for that. And also, yeah, if you want to ask some questions, we're going to be doing some Q&A here at the end, or towards the end of the stream. And yeah, as usual, let me know where you're tuning in from. I have a new guitar. I bought this yesterday. This is a import Epiphone Casino. I got one of the last ones, at least here in Atlanta. This is one of the last ones, and it was at my local Guitar Center. I'd been wanting a casino for a really, really long time, and I figured, you know, with all the Beatles hype and everything going on around right now, it would be a good time to try and get my hands on one. And so I did, and we're going to be doing a video on it later this week. I've got a What is the Casino Sound video coming, which I'm really, really excited about. Honestly, this has been one of the best guitars I think I've ever bought. I was in and out of Guitar Center yesterday in 10 minutes. Walked straight in, grabbed this one off the wall, played 2 or 3 chords on it. It's super loud. If I just turn the AxeFx off here, it's... And it was $700, man. A steal for such a great guitar. I probably will swap the pickups out and do some things. But yeah, a Chinese-made Epiphone Casino. It does not suck. All right, let's take a look at these pedals here. So part of the reason I wanted to talk about the Timmy and the Tim, well, there's 2 reasons. One, I don't know if anybody saw, but recently it was announced that they are bringing back the Tim. I don't know if anybody has seen this or not, but they are, and they is Humbucker Music. Not an advertisement at all, by the way. This is not sponsored, but just wanted to show you this. So they're reissuing the Tim. I guess they're saying what? This is the Tim V3, Paul Cochran Overdrive. And it looks pretty sweet. I might actually try and get on the pre-order list for this because it looks pretty nice. We'll dive more into that in just a minute. But first, let's take a look at the 3 pedals we've got here on the board. So I have a Tim, and I have to shout out a subscriber named Evan. Emailed me last week, and he said, hey, I lucked into a Tim for $300. I already have one. I will gladly sell you this one for what I paid for it. And I immediately said absolutely yes, because these are getting quite pricey on Reverb right now. I think they're going for $500-600, something like that. They're listing for higher, but that doesn't mean they're selling for that. That's just what people are asking for them. I've wanted one of these for a really long time. My good friend Zach from Mythos Pedals and the Dipped in Tone podcast got one, I think last year, and I played his. And this is one of my favorite overdrives I've ever played, and I think this is one of the greatest overdrive pedals of all time. This thing is amazing. And Zach was telling me last night that this is apparently a super early one because of the font on the T here, that he thinks this is a relatively early one. What's cool about this pedal, and we'll play it in a second, is you have, typical bypass switch, you have a boost circuit, but you also have an effects loop here, which is super cool. You don't see that a lot on overdrive pedals. This isn't the only one to ever do it, but it is kind of a unique thing. So the idea is, if you wanted to have a chorus or a delay or, an EQ or some other pedal that would be engaged whenever you bypassed the Tim, you could do that. The new one, interestingly, ties the effects loop to the boost switch. So I believe the effects loop only comes on with the boost, which is super cool. But yeah, this is a really, really great pedal. Now, I think part of the reason I got such a good deal on it was because the switches, I think, are going bad. So I'm going to have Zach repair this for me. But here's the thing, kids. Yesterday, this pedal wasn't working at all. The switches were completely shot, and a few sprays of Deoxit D5 on the switches here completely brought it back to life. And I got a really good deal on a pedal. So let's hear it. I've got the Casino going into the AxeFx. This is an AC30 patch, a relatively clean kind of AC30 type sound here. So here it is. Sort of edge of breakup. That's how I would run an AC30 in real life. And here is the Tim as I've got it set. I think that sounds fantastic. To me, that's a really good example of like a transparent overdrive, and that's what I like. As we all know, or many of you have probably seen, I don't like a tube screamer, primarily because they're not that transparent. They mask your tone. The Tim and the Timmy, and then the Timmy V3, which we'll get to in a minute, they can be really transparent. So with that said, let's jump onto the V2 here. So this is mine. I've owned this since like 2014, I want to say. Something like that. I bought it from Humbucker Music, actually, like we were just talking about. And this has been, with the Greer Lightspeed, this pedal and the Lightspeed were on my board nonstop, basically, for the last, 7-8 years. Those two pedals stack incredibly well together. And this is really cool because essentially when the Tim came out in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, it became really popular really quick. Forum culture was really catching on. The gear page was really catching on, and word spread about the Tim. And I should point out what's cool about these pedals is Paul Cochran, the builder. It's always just been him building these by himself, as I understand it. When I bought my Timmy, it showed up in the white pedal box, and the packing material on the inside was a rolled up paper towel from like Paul's kitchen, I guess. And so orders really started blowing up for these, but people had some critiques. Mainly it's really big. I don't know if you can get a scale for this, but this box is super tall on the Tim. And so people wanted a more pedal board friendly version. So he came out with the Timmy, I guess, V1, even though technically Paul doesn't, as far as I understand it, doesn't refer to there's like being a V1 and V2 Timmy. He just thinks of one. But the original one didn't have this clipping switch. They were internal dip switches like what are in the Tim. And for the V2, which is what this one is, you have the switch on the outside. These are my settings for the Timmy, like my go-to settings. I absolutely love this pedal. So a couple cool things about both of these pedals that are somewhat unique to the Tim and the Timmy is the EQ control. If you're not familiar with these pedals, these aren't standard, EQ controls in the sense that when you have the pot at noon, it's essentially at its null point at 0. And as you go past noon, it boosts. And as you go lower than noon, it cuts. These are actually cut controls. So the more you turn these knobs up, the more you're cutting that frequency. It's a little counterintuitive, but it makes sense once you try it out a little bit. So for me, with this setting here, it's backwards. This is less bass, that's cutting bass, and this is letting more treble through. And then obviously your volume and your gain controls are about the same. Now the switching, the clipping switch in the middle is real subtle. I've never really been able to hear that much of a difference between them, and I can never remember, and I looked it up online before this, and it's kind of difficult to tell what position is what on the switch. So in the middle, I believe it is asymmetrical clipping. Somebody in the chat can let me know here. Oh, we got a couple top chats here. Alonzo, thanks for top chat. Happy holidays. Thanks for all you do. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Alonzo. Slashrick, thank you for the top chat donation there. If you guys are just joining us, we've got 50% off everything in all 3 of my video courses. We only have 10 of those coupons left. We actually may have less now. But we got 10 coupons for 50% off of all of the video courses. And then after those are gone, we're doing a holiday sale, 35% off of all 3 of my video courses via the link in the chat or in the description box down below. So, like I said, if you're just joining us, we are taking a look at these 3 pedals here. So, the clipping is real subtle. I mean, I don't even know if you can hear a difference. I have trouble hearing a big difference in the clipping type in headphones, so I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it on YouTube. But middle position, up, a little more gainy, a little brighter. Here's down. This feels more compressed than the other 2. I like the middle position the best. Now, that's the Tim, that's the Timmy. You get a much smaller box, you don't get the boost circuit, you don't get the effects loop. Most people probably don't use the effects loop anyways. But all in all, they sound pretty close to one another. If I kind of match the settings here, the Timmy should have a little bit more gain than the Tim without the boost circuit on. But let's check that out. There's that. Yeah, so more gain, but check it out if you turn on the boost, which is the real, I think, party piece of this thing. I love this pedal so much, man. I really do think this is one of the best overdrives of all time. Now, the V3, I'm borrowing this from my buddy Zach from Mythos Pedals, and I have some mixed feelings about it. Zach doesn't like it, and I could actually kind of take it or leave it. So a few major changes between the V2, which is a ringer. If you don't have one of these, you should get one. They were relatively cheap new. I think I paid like $130 for mine when it was new. So really, all in all, an affordable pedal considering it's built by one guy and it's become a bit of an icon in the overdrive worlds. This one, I think, debuted in, I want to say 2010, 2011. Might have been a little bit later than that, actually. 2015, 14, whatever. And there's some pretty big changes. Even though they look the same, they are not the same. So first of all, instead of the 3-way switch in the middle here, we've got a gain boost switch. So this is not changing the clipping modes. The clipping modes have gone back to a dip switch inside the circuit, which is fine. And then the EQ controls are different. These are now normal EQs. So they're you know, at their null point. Here they're boosting, and here they're cutting. So it actually makes it a little bit more difficult. Like if you match the settings between these two pedals, I'll just do it real quick. They're going to sound completely different than one another. So this, yeah, that's close enough. So Timmy V2. So you can tell there's way more bass and less treble and more. And the other thing too is the gains change too. So there's less gain on tap for the gain pot because apparently he wanted it to play better with the gain switch. See, but I think, I don't know, this one just doesn't do it for me as much. I think it's kind of getting, it's getting away from what made the Tim and the Timmy so cool, which is that EQ control. On the Timmy V2, having that external clipping switch I think is really nice, and I don't think it needs more gain. I never run my Timmy V2 past 1 o'clock on the gain knob because I feel like it doesn't need more gain. I mean, it's got more on tap, but the thing is, if you're running an amp that's already a little bit broken up, which I always do, it gets a little too saturated and too compressed for me. That's just too much gain for me. And so I don't think the Timmy needed more gain. And then changing the EQ controls, I think, was part of the character of the original pedal. So in my opinion, if you're in the market for one of these are going crazy right now, money-wise. So if you're a collector and you want to possibly invest in something, maybe get that, if you can find a good one. These are classics. These are standbys. This is a custom color that came from humbucker music back in the day. I don't even know what these are going for in reverb now. This one, I could take it or leave it. If you were looking for a new one today, I would probably go for the MXR version over this one, honestly. If you're not familiar, now I haven't played one. I haven't played one of the MXR versions of the Timmys. I believe Paul licensed the circuit and everything out to MXR, and they're building them now. From what I've been told, they sound just like one of Paul's off of his kitchen table. So I'd go for the MXR version, and I think they're pretty affordable too. They're like $100, something like that. So yeah, I'm excited though. If we will look at the, if you go back and check out, let me see here. Yeah, there we go. So this is the new version that's coming out, and let me just get my computer screen situated here. So what has he changed? Well, first of all the controls are here on the top instead of having the boost and the tone control up on the top of the pedal. They're now on the. I know that's kind of confusing, but everything is where you can see it. It's top-mounted jacks now, which is super nice. I think everyone's sort of going this way. You still have the effects loop, but like I said, it's tied to the boost switch now, not just the bypass switch. And we have a high cut control, which is really, really nice. It says here in the notes that the high cut is to make it play better with brighter amps. Is it necessary? I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's other ways that you could cut high end, either with the pedal, with the treble control, or on your amp itself. But yeah, I may actually get on the pre-order list for one of these. So yeah, that's the Timmy and Tim. See if we have any questions here. How does it sound on bass? Matt is asking, and I don't really know. I've never played bass through it, but I would imagine that it would be pretty good on bass because of the tone controls. If you listen, I'll go to the, we'll do it with the Tim first. I'll keep the bass. Let's see, that should be all the way cut, so all the way rolled off. Yeah, so that's brightest. This is all the way down. There's a fair amount of bass on tap there. And again, having a 2-band EQ on a pedal like this is super great. So I'd encourage you to try it. Maybe get one of the MXR versions and try it out on bass. Oh yeah, Blade Freak in the top chat. You run a Soul Food with an Ibanez Clean Boost. Is that, Tim, basically that combo in one? No. So Soul Food is a Klon. This is not based off of a Klon circuit. I mean, I see where you're going, where you have an overdrive and you have a boost. The other cool thing about the boost up here is you can pull it, and I believe this is bypassing the clipping section. Let me see here. That's a ton of gain, so I'll just back off the gain here on the main section here. Yeah, see, that's what's so great about this pedal. You could run this, if you were going with a really, really clean sort of pedal platform amp, like running a Twin, for example, which is not my thing. You could leave this on as an always-on sort of edge of breakup thing to get your amp a little bit more saturation, to break it up a little more. It's kind of how I've got it right now. This is a relatively clean Vox sound. And then if you wanted more, you need a solo boost. That's all the gain you would ever need, or at least I would ever need on a gig. Anything more than that, it's going to start getting too compressed. And in a live show, on a stage, unless your amp has tons of headroom that you could hit it with a really clean boost after that, you're going to start getting buried in the mix. What's that? Oh, is it? Are we getting static again? Okay, yeah. So we figured out the audio issues with the live stream, and it's an issue with my streaming software, which needs to get rectified. So hopefully they'll have an update for that pretty soon. I think next week we're going to try switching to a different computer and streaming from a different one that has an older version of the software on it. But yeah. Did Rhett mention what amp he's playing through? Yeah, right now I've got the AxeFx 3 going, and I have an AC30 profile on. The other thing I should point out too while we're talking about these pedals, so right now I've got kind of a clean setting, but another reason I really love the Tim and the Timmy specifically is if you're running an amp that's a little more broken up or is already broken up, these pedals play really nicely with that. So this is a setting on my AxeFx that's like a top boost setting where you're really pushing the amp. So that's already a fair amount of overdrive. And if I go back here, bring the gain down on the Tim, cut some of the bass, give it a little bit more treble, it's going to stay relatively transparent. And then with a boost, but see what I mean? Like when you really start to hit it with a lot of gain, a lot of saturation, it starts to collapse a little bit. That's indicative of what a real amp does. Like that initial like attack of the note is causing the amp to collapse a little bit. So that's a little too much gain. But if we go to the Timmy here, back off the gain a little bit, give it a little bit more treble. I really, really love that. And then the V3. To me, that's just not as, not quite as inspiring. It's still nice. Yeah, you want to try with a different guitar here? So we will switch to a Strat. Got lucky a year ago and bought a natural Casino made in Korea for so cheap you don't even want to say it. Yeah, I am blown away with that Casino. I bought it yesterday and got, I think, one of the last ones in at least in the Atlanta area, and could not be happier with it, man. For $700, that guitar is doing its thing. Should have just left this in E flat when I think about it. But Strats do sound better in E flat.
I heard somebody say that once.
Yeah, it's like some dude made a video about that once. Now the thing I like about the Timmy, I'll go back to the clean setting here. Wow, this Strat is way hotter output than that Casino. Let me get the amp gain dialed in a little bit closer to what we had before. Sounds nice. Oh, no wonder it's gainier. Hold on, I still have the V3 on. Duh. That's better. All right. So, one of the things I like about this circuit is it's really good for taming like bright, harsh strats and tellies, for example. So we'll start with the Tim and hit my tuner one more time. And because you have that treble cut control, you have a wider, it's easier to tame high end. I mean, you can see how much brighter it is where I had it. You can kind of almost get into a Dumble sort of thing here. Let me kick the gain on, bring the tone back on the gain. A little bit more treble. Yeah, same thing with the Timmy. You can really tame some harsh pickups if you need to. Yeah. Cool. Let's check in on some questions here. Is that a Pro 2? Yes, this is an American Pro 2 Strat that I'm ashamed to admit I was filming a video with last year. Fender sent me this guitar very kindly, and the first day I had it, I was filming a video with it, trying it out, and I set it in my chair and got up to adjust the camera. And as soon as I turned my back to it, it slipped and fell out of the chair and took a nice chunk out of the finish there. So, you know, whatever. It happens. Battle scar, but it made me so mad because it's such a nice finish. I was really, really bummed to ding it like that. Let's see here. Oh, Penny's here. What's that? Oh, man.
A little bit. It's towards the bottom.
Okay.
Talking about that pedal show.
Talk about false bypass. Oh, yeah. Paul's asking, I was asking on that pedal show yesterday about the casino pickups. He has a vlog about it. They're Lawler Imperials, I believe. Yeah. So the casino, the one thing that I have that I want to change on it are the pickups. They are a little too dark for my taste. And if you want a perfect, in my opinion, the perfect representation of a really great casino tone, go listen to 5 Watt World's new video. Keith just did a video on the guitars of Get Back, and he's talking about the casino a lot. And Tim Pierce shows up in that video, and Tim is playing a casino that's visually identical to this one, but it's a real 62, I believe he said. And he's got flat wounds on it. And the sound that Tim gets out of his casino is exactly what I want from this. So I think it's a combination of better pickups and switching to flat wound strings, which is what I think I'm going to do on this guitar. But dude, this thing, I really can't get over it. I was like thinking about this guitar last night while I was falling asleep. It's so good. And it's so loud. It's almost as loud as an acoustic, just unplugged. I know we're talking about overdrives today, but I think this guitar is kind of stealing the show. The ding increased its value by 300%. So yeah, sometimes you really like that darker sound. That's why you hang on to your Comanche. Sometimes it's nice, but other times, you know, I want a little bit more presence. It's not that I want more treble. It's that I want to hear the attack of the strings. Oh, I should point out, if you guys have questions, tag me in the chat at Rhett Shull so I can see your questions a little bit easier. Also, if you're just joining us, we're talking about overdrives today, but I'm doing 50% off, only 10 slots, 10 coupons of 50% off of all my video courses. And then once those 10 are gone, you can get 35% off of the tone course, the Nashville Number System course, or the Fretboard Fundamentals course through the end of the week. We're running a holiday sale, so check that out. But I'll turn off the mic so you can hear just the guitar by itself. Thank you, William Hall, for jumping on the course, man. I appreciate that. So you can tell it's pretty dark. That's the bridge pickup. That's pretty nice. But a really cool sound, we were messing around with this before we went live, is the sound of the amp and then my shotgun mic picking up the strings at the same time. Sounds so good. Meters vibe, yeah. Steve asks, have you tried the Lila Drive by Music Box Pedals? It came out last year and uses the circuitry of the original Timmy. Best drive you've ever played. I have not. There are some Tim and Timmy clones out there. The Electro Harmonics Crayon, for example, that's a really good budget option of, I believe, the Timmy V2. I think they're like 65 bucks brand new, and they're really, really good. I reviewed one earlier this year in like a budget overdrives video, like budget overdrives under $100, and I was really impressed with it. It sounded great. But I really do think this is one of the best overdrive circuits and designs of all time. And I'm really excited to have this. It does need a little bit of work. As you can probably tell, the switches probably need to be replaced, honestly. Some deox at D5 really helped out. But yeah. Connor wants to know, how's the cleanup on the Timmy? Let's check it out. Let's go. back to pedal cam here. I'll go back to my typical Timmy setting, which is this right here. You could, honestly, like, you could remove all the controls and just have a blank box with these settings baked into the Timmy, and I would be happy. This is how it stays for my board all the time. And even, actually, in the Line 6 and the Helix, they have a Timmy model, and this is exactly how I dial it in all my Helix stuff and my AxeFx, and it sounds fantastic. So that's my volume all the way up. I'm gonna start rolling it off on the casino here. Hey, Mythos is here. What's up, Zach? I do need to send you this, by the way. It's the deoxit helped, but it didn't totally fix the issue. So yeah, Connor, that should answer your question. It cleans up. It gets a little bit darker, but that also might just be the casino itself. That's really nice tone. Neck pickup rolled halfway down. Yeah, there's a lot happening there, which is super cool. Rohan, what overdrive does the Gilmore and the Edge use? Everything. Over the course of their careers, those guys have used everything from, just the amps. I mean, the reality is most of the time when you're hearing, especially stuff from the 70s, you have to remember there weren't many options available, especially in like the overdrive market. There just wasn't that many. Pedals weren't really that big of a thing at that time. So they were obviously probably using, like, Gilmore, for example, was really reliant on fuzz faces, tone benders, color sound power boosters, because that's what was available to them at that time. It's not like it is today. It's not like you can just jump on, Sweetwater or Reverb or Humbucker or whatever and have your pick of 2,000 different overdrive pedals. And the other thing you have to keep in mind too about overdrives, my friend Jared Scharf has an interesting take on this, which is he actually hates overdrive pedals. He swears them off completely, which I don't 100% agree with, but I understand his point, which is the sound that we're going for when we're using these overdrive pedals in front of an amp. For the most part, you're trying to imitate an actual amp breaking up, which I agree with him. And so his point is, why use an overdrive pedal when you could just use a boost in front of a really great amp and get that, like, natural quote-unquote overdrive from a set of tubes. And I agree with him to that point, but I also understand that, it's not always feasible to push an amp. I mean, if you've got a 20-watt amp, to push it to overdrive on its own with a boost pedal or something, especially if an amp doesn't have a master volume, it's loud, man. It's really, really loud for most situations. So yeah, I mean, to each his own. But oh yeah, Trevor was just asking, what's your take on pedal versus amp drive? I mean, I like them both. It depends on the situation. So right now I'm using an AC30 profile in the AxeFx, and if I could have my my druthers, so to speak, to me the perfect sound is my early 60s gray panel AC30 pushed with a boost or a fuzz. That's the sound. But the thing is, you will go deaf if you're in the same room with that amp pushed to where it's overdriving that hard. To get, this kind of sound out of my AC30 in the room, I mean, it's painful. It's absolutely painful, and I couldn't get away with that on most gigs. But I can get away with a slightly smaller amp or an amp run at a lower volume and hit it with an overdrive to get it to break up and clip. Also, overdrives are great because they give you some EQ, some tone shaping options. At least good ones do. And that's one of my gripes with the Tube Screamer is it doesn't actually have that great of some tone shaping options. You have the tone control, but at least in my opinion, it doesn't do all that much. So yeah. Where can you get that insane Klon Posse sticker? These came from Chipson. Chipson sent me a nice little care package a few weeks ago. So you have the insane Klon Posse. There's a Durst Burst one that went on my notebook. And there's a Chipson sticker. So yeah. Any affordable clones of a Timmy before you go looking for the real deal, Tristan asks. Yeah, there's a few. The MXR Timmy, I think, is really good from what I've been told. Zach at Mythos has told me that they're really good, and I trust his opinion on this stuff. And I think those retail for around $100 new, which is pretty good. The Electro Harmonics, I want to say it's the Crayon, is a Timmy clone, but it's been almost a year since I've made that video and looked into that, so it could be something different. But yeah, the Electro Harmonic stuff is really good. I think it's like $65. Yeah. Oh, the Crayon is the BB preamp. That's right. Okay, so which one is the Timmy? Can't remember. So yeah, cool. Well, that is my thoughts on what I think is one of the greatest overdrives of all time. I love this pedal. I'm gonna hold on to it forever. They're going up in value, so if you can find one for a good price, I really lucked out and picked this one up for a steal, and I'm really glad I did. It needs a little TLC, but we're gonna get it back up and running and taken care of. And this one might make its way on the board. Well, maybe not, because they're kind of becoming a bit collectible, I guess. So, yeah, so that's the Timmy. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Don't forget, I think we're out of the 50% off coupons for the week. So we got 35% off everything in my store, all of my video courses. Through the end of the week, we're doing a holiday sale. It's Holiday 35 at checkout. Be on the lookout for the What is the Casino Sound video later this week. Really excited about that. We've been working on it since yesterday. It's going to be really, really cool. Oh, we got a couple top chats. T. Acreage, thanks for top chat. What do you think of the Friedman BEOD? Never played one. I've played the AxeFx model of one, and it's cool. But I've never played a real one. Subi, what's up, man? Thank you, as always. Merry Christmas. Much love. Appreciate it, man. How's my casino with feedback? Nicholas is asking. I don't know. I haven't played it live yet. I've only played it in the room with speakers or headphones on. Cool. Thanks, everyone. And I think we will see you guys next week for another live stream. See y'all.